Our topic for today is why your horse business is not actually a business and how you can change that. So let's start in the big picture. What is an actual business, Cerise?
That's a really good question. And it's a question that I think most horse professionals have never considered. A business is a strategic plan on how to deliver services or goods to customers or clients in a way that delivers value in exchange for money and allows the provider to profit.
The big misunderstanding is that a business delivers consistent revenue to a consistent and growing number of clients at a profit. So when I'm a service provider, and I was one, I was a life coach, a business coach, a horse trainer. I've had many service provider jobs in my life, feast and famine, right? Sometimes I have too many people, then I don't have enough. If I have too many, I need to say no, only to get worried because I already see the down. There's no peace of mind. There's no predictability. There's no resting. There's no projection possible. Service providing really isn't a business.
It's not. And our audience, horse professionals, never even thought about getting into a service provider role. They just were like, okay, I can get money for working with horses. Cool, done. There's never been any actual thought behind the business.
Right. It comes from a passion, kind of like a painter or a sculptor. They get a commission, then they deliver and they make money. And if the next commission comes the year after, they go and be a waiter. Even actors are actually don't have businesses, which why we see a lot of actors getting into businesses. An actor makes, let's say, 20 million for a movie. That's a one-time shot. How can this person buy a house on that when they don't know? The industry might die out, right? So that's why we see Clooney and yada, yada, yada get into actual businesses.
The other really great example would be professional athletes, like football players.
Oh my
How
God.
many times have we heard that story of, a professional athlete, a basketball player, a football player in America, a baseball player getting catastrophically injured and having blown billions of dollars with nothing left. So the smart ones are investing in businesses that have cash flow.
Right. Predictable cash flow. I was talking to some of my masterminders and we have these various coaching calls, and the idea was, how is self-worth tied to being a service provider or business owner? Because we hear very vulnerably and very honestly a lot of people being like, am I good enough? And then they go on social media and they compare themselves with this person who rides like God or goddess, and like, oh, who am I? And better charge less and yada, yada, yada. When I actually decide that I'm going to build a business, what changes in regards to myself?
The biggest thing is you gain confidence. First of all, you're confident in the skills you deliver. You know you can do what you say you can do, but you have to gain confidence in being able to talk about what you do, talk about how you help people and their horses, have your brand identity, which is a huge point of pride and value for our people.
Yeah, your unique contribution, your unique corner of the universe, in this industry that's yours and yours only is huge.
It's funny, I was having dinner with a really good friend of mine who's a phenomenal trainer. Phenomenal. I've worked with Olympians and I've worked with her, and I would choose her day after day because of the quality of work she does. And she wants to create some online content. And she says, yeah, but don't you think that enough people have already talked about this particular topic? And I said, nobody's had it from your perspective. You're what's special about it. The way you deliver it, your point of view.
Your unique composition of skills. Nobody knows as much about this and this and this and this and this, and then have you the unique, awesome brain, put it together into a unique format. We just happen to have the talent to pull it out of people.
The next big thing that I'm going to say terrifies almost everyone in our industry is systems and technology. We live in a digital age. We work in an iron age industry where people have, just done what they do day after day after day, but they're not reaching people. They're doing things the hard way. Technology has advanced to a point to make it easier than ever before to stay organized, to manage your business, that automates tasks, that takes things off of your to-do list because you don't have to think about them ever again.
Mhm.
And to get out there in front of people in a way that is authentic, delivers value, and starts to build a relationship without you having to put in endless hours of hard work selling yourself.
Mhm. Right. So absolutely, technology, whatever we call technology. So if we're talking about our all-in-one software, that's really like a back office where everything is consolidated, organized, systematized, automated to a maximum to free people's time. And if your eyes glaze over and you just shut down, like, shut down horse, and you just keep mucking another stall, nothing wrong with mucking, but it would be better to go and take some time and to work on your business and on your tech skills and overcome that fear and feel that self-esteem that comes with, oh, wow, that used to be difficult for me. We were just laughing because we talked about a longtime client of ours who says, I now think in workflows. She thinks in automations and how things link to each other without her every day, every minute input.
To give people some context, this is a person that is 50 plus years old and had absolute complete terror and shutdown when it came to tech when we first started working with her. And now she teaches other people in our coaching groups how to do the things that we're also teaching them how to do, because she has that much confidence and that much clarity in the processes because she took the time to learn it.
In addition, making friends with marketing.
Mhm.
True, authentic delivering of free pieces that lead to an authentic sell.
It's a bit of a toss up between systems and tech and marketing as to what our people are most turned off by, most afraid of, or have the biggest ick factor around. I'm going to say probably marketing is just a touch higher because it just makes them feel icky, right?
The misperception of being sold, or the previous experience of being sold to or oversold or overpromised and underdelivered. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like 1960s, 1970s marketing tactics that are pushy and shovey and just kind of like get the sale at all cost stuff, because that doesn't work in our industry. We're building a long-term relationship that has to be built off of trust because of the welfare of both the horse and the rider, because of the risk involved when you're dealing with 1,000-pound animals. It's a deep connection that people are looking for with their horses, especially for our horse first, welfare oriented practitioners. They're
You
looking
can't attract these type of clients using manipulative tactic.
No.
That doesn't work, right?
No, and here in the 21st century, people are savvy. They've seen enough advertising. Lord knows on social media alone at this stage of the game, the amount of ads that people see on a day-to-day basis, you just glaze over. Rather than just shouting from the rooftops, here I am, I'm great, I'm the best, and it's all ego-driven, like, you have to trust me because I have all of this experience and I've worked with all of these amazing people and yada, 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 and I know what's best for you. We flip the script and we trust that the audience knows what's best for them, giving them the choice because they feel seen, they feel heard, they are identified in the way you talk to them in your marketing materials, and they see that you truly and deeply understand who they are and what they want to accomplish.
And that includes the pain, their unspoken desires. So a really good example is somebody comes to your lesson, they say, what do you want to work on? Canter departure. You go like, okay, great. But canter departure isn't really what they're looking for. Because in itself, it's a meaningless thing. It's a mechanical transition from the truck to the canter? What is the sensation that they want to experience as they depart into this glorious royal gate, right? If you find words for that, you got their hearts, not their minds. And that's just a teeny example of a whole bunch of ways we can describe what somebody wants.
So, like, to talk about what they're looking for in this candidate departure, they're looking for effortless. They're looking for a transition that happens on a thought. They're looking for lightness. They're looking for joyousness in the transition. Those
Collaboration from the horse,
yeah,
a willingness to play this game together. So marketing is not shoving your goods down somebody's throat, but is building this relationship by, like you said, helping your end consumer, your client, feel heard, seen, understood, and at home with you. And this is what we're trying to do with this, right? We produce these every week. We produce free trainings. We give and give and give because A, it's really fun, and B, we want you to start to feel like you can trust us with your hopes and your aspirations and your worries and your struggles and your weaknesses and your strength and your, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed by tech and marketing. And help, let us help you feel in control of your life, of your business. Make it a system that actually works for you.
What you just said there, feeling in control. And I'm sure anybody that sees this can understand and identify with the experience of feeling run by their business rather than running their business and having their business dictate their life rather than dictating their business so that it can build the life they want.
We don't always feel in full control of our business. Stuff
No.
goes wrong. Just before our meeting, I ran from the barn because I had a horse with a cough. Yada, yada, yada. That all is part of life. But we do deeply trust our systems and our offers and our methodology, our marketing, by which to acquire the right clients. So if a day is a crappy day or even a bad week, it doesn't really shake us that hard anymore. We just go back on the horse and continue fulfilling on the strategic plan that we have. And most people live on putting out fires,
especially in this industry.
That doesn't feel good. And that's the service provider. The service provider, by definition, is putting out fires. The fear of not getting a new client, the fear of having too many clients to deliver to, the fear of getting stuck in traffic and not making that appointment and therefore not getting paid. That is
expected vet bills. Every horse professional
knows. Yes, it doesn't feel good to me either. Probably will never feel good, but I'm all right with that. And I can do right by my horse. I heard him cough for the second day. I didn't hesitate because I didn't have the money for vet bills. I'm like, no, I'm gonna nip that in the butt right now. So we have in charge of marketing, or feeling like you're in good relationship with marketing, that you have a basic understanding and a good relationship to tech, automations, and systems, that you understand business fundamentals. How does a business run? And we talk about this a lot, that our horse industry really doesn't have a lot of good examples.
No.
Ever so often there's somebody does it right. But if you come up as, let's say, a teenager and you work for somebody as a working student, you see the wrong model already shown over and over, then you kind of fall into it. Now you're going to make some money making less and taking less or giving lessons and this, and you're so excited about continued education. So you kind of fall into this accidental service provider thing, and there goes putting out the fires. What we teach are very well-known principles in other industries. We don't just go, oh, here we pull a new strategy out of our sleeves. We just look at other industries and say, this is how they do it. This is how they do it. This is a great method of that. And then we bring it to the equine growing entrepreneur. But if without those basics, it's like if your horse never seen any groundwork.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It doesn't stand still at the mounting block. It doesn't yield when you lead. It yanks you all over the place on the way, from one pasture to the other. It is reactive. And then somebody throws a saddle on.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, what we see. And so the fundamentals, to know the fundamentals and to go back to the fundamentals and know which fundamentals to go back to. So same with horses, right? So you start this young horse and you put the groundwork into it. I told you the story about my my sweet Mustang mare that's supposedly retiring in Portugal, but is so well trained and so few holds, if any, that now they're scrambling of who's going to go and take her as their lead horse. What an insurance for this horse to always find a good home. It's like sending your kid off as a well-behaved, adult. Like, phew, okay, I've done my job. So that's kind of like with your business, you can fall back onto your fundamentals when things don't go so well for a certain period. Something falls apart, you go, okay, back. What's missing? Our Unhobbled Foundation course gives that foundation upon which you can become a confident business owner. So those are the three: marketing, tech, and business fundamentals. Let's talk for the last few minutes here about the thing that nobody wants to talk about, which is the relationship to profit and money.
So first of all, culturally, in Western culture especially, we are taught that it is impolite to talk about money. So let's just throw that out the window, because anybody that is well off in the world, people that are wealthy, the number one rule is that they talk about money. Because if you don't talk about it, you can't fix it, you can't deal with it, you can't grow it. For so many people, that brings shame around money. It means that they can't address their limiting beliefs. They can't determine their own value and worth financially. Just like with a lot of artists talking about, like, well, I do it because I love it.
Right, but it's because it's my passion, so therefore I cannot get paid for it.
Exactly. But if you don't get paid for it, you can't keep doing it because you can't afford to.
Or you keep struggling along and you never experience that sense of self-worth, that sense of internal locus of control, the sense of feeling like I am in charge of the destiny of my life. Again, there's enough stuff that can happen that we don't have control over. But giving that power away over what we can control is not good for the horses in everybody's care either.
No,
They
exactly.
get a tense, worried person in their presence, and we all know that that really, affects the horse. And we were talking about this in one of our coaching groups. It stifles creativity. So whether you need to be creative on finding a new solution for a horse, because it's having a unique set of problems that your normal methods don't work for, or a creative post on social media that draws in a lot of people, or a creative set of courses or clinic topics or anything. You pull this out of thin air, the stuff that you do. It has to come from somewhere. And if creativity is cut off, so is that supply. And as somebody was saying, then they become very transactional. Sometimes we have transactional days. Check, 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 check. But that doesn't feel good on long term. What would happen as we are trying to move this new paradigm, this new relationship, horse-human relationship forward, if the people who believe in it, the people who are participating in it, would actually feel worthy, in control, and in a healthy, open relationship with money?
It would mean this movement of taking care of the horse's physical, mental, and emotional needs is also mirrored by taking care of the human's physical, mental, and emotional needs. And it means that we would all be able to show up and lead by example in our best, most authentic versions of ourselves to really start to make a big impact on the way things are done.
And live in this flow, this creative source of all there is, including money. right? This energetic exchange that we're all looking for with it between us and the horse is a micro example of how the whole universe works. If we block it somewhere, whether I'm blocked with tech or I'm blocked with marketing or I'm blocked with money, the flow stops. And I know that sounds a little out there. And this morning I almost apologized to, my unhobbled membership members. And they're like, no, this is, I get that. So, sometimes it takes a little risk, to look at that like this, because being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, of course, you have to have all the pragmatic foundational pieces in place too. Your to-do list, your marketing list, but not to forget that money is energy. And if we're just like, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to make it next month, and I hope so-and-so doesn't get sick, and I hope that vet bill isn't, that much, and I just put my head in the sand and I'll muck one more stall, ride one more horse. That's not the new paradigm of being.
To be fully transparent, and let people see behind the scenes a little bit. When I was training and teaching full time, I, at one point in time, at the highest, I was earning about 75,000 in profit per year. And I felt pretty darn good about myself, because it was the first time ever that I had made that kind of money and been able to not stress every single day. And then my autoimmune disease caught up with me, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I had no other way to continue working with horses at that time that I saw without using my body in exchange for money.
Using my body in exchange for money. Oh my gosh. That's why lots of you don't have a business, because you're exchanging your body, what was that? Your body in exchange for money.
We all in the horse industry have to be hyper aware that we are not invincible. And especially if you're thinking about it from a horse first perspective, you're not invincible. Your ego isn't so big that you think that you can never be broken and nothing bad can ever happen to you. What happens when that does happen? When the worst case scenario, when your body doesn't let you make money anymore doing the thing you love? Do you have something in place that lets you to continue making money, doing what you love, feeling fulfilled, delivering value, making an impact without relying on your physical self being able to be out there doing the hard work day in and day out?
Successful business owners do so every day in other industries. They have a team, they have help, they have support, and they have enough revenue that they can pay this team and themselves. And that's when you can sleep well. Risk is much lower, and you can sleep and you say, I would prefer still being able to ride 10 horses, treat 10 horses, run this many retreats. But if I don't, I have a different way to generate income. And that's what we're really about, is making you independent from having to use your body in order to do that. That doesn't mean you don't want to use it. That's different from having to.
Using my own skills that were outside of the horse industry and incorporating everything that I knew about working in the horse industry, I can help horse business owners from this side of things and still have the physical ability to enjoy my own horses.
We'll continue, actually. Let's continue this conversation. How can one structure businesses so that one is not so dependent on one's ability to use one's body? But service provider is not the model. Business owner and then into entrepreneur is the security that you're actually looking for, but probably never even considered possible.
And the foundation of all of that is our Unhobbled Business Foundations course. We have several different ways that you could participate in that if you're actually interested in it. There's a do-it-yourself version that's self-paced, and you can go through it at your own time. And then we also have live coach options where you can sit down with Christiana and get your questions answered and get real-time feedback as well.
We have our software that helps you automate So we're going to put all the links below. The option on opportunities to work with us are multiples. There's multiple entry points that all lead to the same thing of you becoming a successful, financially at peace entrepreneur.